next pick, and it is your Miami Dolphins versus the Arizona Cardinals.
We'll talk about this game.
Tua's back after getting his head rocked for the 10th time. I don't know if he should really be playing anymore, but hey, it's his decision. But I will say this: the beginning of the game, about the first like 2 quarters, the Finns' offense looked back. They looked efficient. They looked fast. They were doing
Competent.
they were doing their McDaniel system where it's like 5-10 yard passes, and you have your speedsters who are able to get the yards after catch. They looked pretty much back to where they were, what we saw last year, and the beginning of the first. Well, I guess the week one you didn't necessarily look at like peak level, but yeah, pretty much the same system. I did see Tua when they started to try to get deep and try to throw the ball a little farther. He was just pretty inaccurate. He just couldn't hit the throws. Granted, that's kind of been his like shtick since he's entered the league. He's just not a good long ball guy. So they built a system around him. And yeah, I thought they were doing really well. A-Chain was running the ball all over the place.
Yeah,
Moser was running the rushing attack was playing really good. The offensive line and the run game was pretty solid. So, for a second there, I thought like, oh man, Dolphins offense is back. But the one thing that continues to hurt the Dolphins this entire season is that secondary, man. You guys get killed consistently.
No.
Jalen Ramsey is not that same guy anymore. He hasn't been really that same guy for a long time. And they just getting absolutely killed. Marvin Harrison Jr. had a day. McBride had a day. And that was pretty much what I would say kill you. I mean, you guys put up 27 points. Arizona came down right at the end to get the game-winning field goal.
Yeah.
I will say Kyler Murray, he looks much improved this season. I think last year was pretty much a down year for him, especially with the injuries and stuff. So this year, I like the Cardinals. They're kind of a fun team to watch. They're super competitive. I like the offensive weapons that they have on the outside. I do think they need some more pieces because they're still kind of in that mid-rebuild phase, but they are getting better. I think they need to have more defensive pieces and maybe a better running back because Connor is he's just not that good. I feel like he just seems slow to me, and he's now getting older. So Arizona is a team where it's like, I mean, we saw what they did against San Francisco. Like, they're a competitive team. They're not necessarily a team that you can really walk over, and they've shown that they can put up points, and especially when you can get Marvin Harrison like cooking, bro, it's hard to stop him. But yeah, what do you think of this game? I know you're watching your Dolphins.
Overall, man, it was kind of devastating. It's a great win for the Cardinals on the road. I mean, you look at the team stats; all these teams are pretty even. Like some of the completions and the efficiency. Overall, I felt like like you said, the opening drives, the first half looked pretty good. They looked competent. But yeah, A-Chain looked great. He looked really good. I thought Kyler Murray looked good on the rollout. Like, he looked good. He looked patient. He was, doing his checkdowns correctly. He was making correct throws. I thought the game kind of turned around the safety. There was a fumble, a mishandled, a mishandled hike turned to a safety. And I think that's when the game kind of turned around. We go down. Harrison scores a touchdown, and it's 28-18, or sorry, 28-20. And that kind of turned around the game itself. They look pretty even. Overall, the Dolphins look, obviously way better. Obviously improved from last week in the last few weeks.
Yeah, because
but tough loss.
It makes you wonder how Huntley was ever a Pro Bowler.
I mean, he got in barely because some guy
got in because everybody else declined.
Yeah, everybody else declined. So yeah, I mean, tough loss. You can't lose at home, especially they go down. I think they're 2-5 now. You can't lose at home to the Cardinals.
1-3 at home.
The Cardinals are improved, and you get Tua back, and you guys play. You get Mostert's back. They play well. There were some big throws. There was missed. Tua missed Tyreek on some big throws. He underthrew him.
That's what I was saying. And super inaccurate on the deep
and then
ball,
missed him in the end zone. So there's at least 6 points right there you could have had. Overall, I'm feeling better that Tua's out there. There's a play where he had a huge run and Tua had to slide, and apparently, everybody in the stadium apparently was hooting and hollering that he was actually sliding. Yeah, and that's the thing too.
Get down.
Watching the game, I've always worried about Tua. I've never worried about Tua playing football. Obviously, with him, I worry about the injuries adding up with him, but I've never ever had doubt in like, oh my god, like this kid, he just can't play or he can't run. Like he's gonna have to figure that out for himself. But some of the throws just don't look great. And that's what you get with Tua. Sometimes you get these kind of 50-50 where he looks great on some throws, but also, the timing and the passing can be out of whack. So
I tell you what, though, you guys mastered the short pass for him, which making it easy for him. But
that was the whole thing, man. It was supposed to be the fastest team, man. You got Achane. You're supposed to be the fastest team. You got Mostert, Achane. You got Tyreek. You're supposed to be fast at the block, quickest release, quick with the run, scheming, whatever. And you see how it looks like when Tua's not in there. So it's kind of disappointing because we're getting to that point now. You talk about teams, you talk about your Jaguars. We're getting to that point where like, you look at the playoff picture, we're like number 10. So we're kind of on the bubble. We're close to there. We're kind of these iffy, washy teams, especially with the Jets being bad, Patriots being bad. But
you're fighting for number 1 overall pick.
So it's like a point of season where it's like, man, we've kind of wasted like 3 weeks with just injuries and bad games. And, this is a tough loss to have, especially, going in halfway through the season. So overall,
y'all should have picked up Tannehill. Tannehill would have ran that offense.
He didn't want to come, man. He wanted to start. He wanted to be a starter.
Was that what it was?
I think so. I think I want a situation where he can play. He's in South Florida. He lives in South Florida. He has a home.
I thought it was that the Dolphins didn't want to suck it up and bring him in, because I always thought, I'm like, they need to give him a call right now, because if anybody could run this offense, he can. It's not like it's a complicated offense at the end of the day. They've made it very simple for Tua, which kind of surprises me that Huntley couldn't pick it up in the first place. But how do you feel about the defense? Because I mean, man, like that secondary is rough.
Yeah, I've had issues for the past three years with the secondary. I thought our safety is pretty good. Holland is one of these guys that are revered to be a great safety. I don't know if people speak about his name nationally, like people know about him. But overall, I've always had issues with this, especially, and going back to the D line, we've put more pressure in the past, right? We had to let go of Christian Wilkinson. We had to let go. Last year we had Chubb go down with a huge injury. You had some, Van Ginkel's looking great, and freaking he leaves and it looks great because he's always, he's like a ball hawk. So we've had some losses on defense that made us, competitive. That made us look good in the turnover game and putting pressure and pressure on the quarterback. But the defense is kind of meh. It's meh to kind of below average for me, and I've always had issues with that with the way they've been drafting. So yeah, man, it's kind of like we're teetering. It's like you could be one of these playoff hunt teams, but also we're like 2 or 3 games away from it being completely over and the season being a wash.
I'll tell you what, it's bad when you give up 31 to Tennessee.
Yeah. We've had bad losses, man. I don't know why we get these weird games where we just lose to bad teams, and it sucks.
Because I'm looking at gave up 20 to Jacksonville, 31 to the Bills, 24 to Seahawks, 31 to Tennessee. You only gave up 10 to the Patriots, but it's also the Patriots.
Yeah.
Colts, you gave up 16, but it's the Colts, who actually just benched Anthony Richardson to put in Flacco. Breaking news.
Yeah.
And then the Cardinals, 28.